Hi, I'm Saren.
And I'm Ray.
We're your Spider Baby hosts from To Know Her Is to Fear Her, a Spider-Woman podcast, as well as proud members of the collective.
You're listening to Capes and Lunatics. Gimme, gimme.
Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Don't miss out on our comic book creator interviews, including our monthly Chichester chats with comic book legend D.G. Chichester, superhero movie brackets in our search for the worst comic book movie of all time, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes or go to patreon.com/capesandlunatics. Hope to see you there.
This is Luca Perich, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
Recording has started. In a world of capes and lunatics, gods and monsters, there comes a day where a threat will arise that no one hero can face alone. In that time will rise a team of Avengers. This is Avengers Declassified. I'm your host, Charlie, the Professor Esser, and with me, as always, is the blue-eyed bomber from the Burger Pits,
Phil Podcast Perich.
Hey, Philip Podcast Perich. So good to have you. Tonight's episode, we are discussing all new, all different Avengers 1 through 3, which are the 3 issues, not the 0 issue or the Free Comic Book Day issue, but the 3 issues that define the start of this run of heroes. And this is a very this was part of the all new, all different line of Marvel. A lot of things had been rebranded at this time. This was when they sort of introduced a bunch of legacy characters. Would imagine this is what Gen 5 was supposed to be for DC, but like 20 years later. Where basically this is where Ms. Marvel gets introduced, and you have Sam as the Nova, and of course Vision will eventually become involved in some way. Well, although not here, she shows up in Champions later. But we have Miles as the third teen, and then you have the adults in the team, which include Vision and Lady Thor, and of course, the one true Captain America, Phil, Uncle Sam Wilson.
Did you say Tony Stark?
Tony Stark shows up, but he's not really in the team. That's the moral of the story. Is Tony Stark is no longer running the Avengers, and that's where we're opening. Is there are no Avengers. We have sold Avengers Tower to, according to this, some gentleman by the name of Kang. He wants all of Tony Stark's stuff out of there. Gee, why does that name sound familiar? Actually, we call him Griffin, Mr. Griffin, although his company is called QENG, King Industries, so, you know, that's a thing. But yes, Mr. Griffin does not like Tony Stark, but he seems to be a very powerful person, and recently in the comic book Nova, he fought a Chitauri bad guy named Warbringer and threw him into the sun. But of course, just like Yellowbeards, Chitauri are never more dangerous than when they're dead.
No.
He teleports in, and I do love this because this is a very interesting take on transporter logic, because he's literally just data being beamed across the universe and then reformed effectively as they're not even pretending that's what they do. That's absolutely what we do. And the idea is like that's so much more efficient. This whole co-locating of your atoms across, that's Kane calls it out as like that. Once people get over their foolish senses of morality, they'll find that this is a much more efficient way to travel. Yes, I'm not sure that worked out very well for him. But,
no.
That is our Warbringer. He shows up here. And he is ready for battle. Although Mr. Griffin, I'm sort of spoiling everything, Phil.
That's all right.
This comic book that came out years ago, I'm spoiling big secrets.
And again, that's what we're doing the rest of the month is all new, all different. So, I mean... we're probably going to get through a lot of this. So
we're going to see this arc play out. But right now, it's all a mystery. Bum, bum, bum. And it's meant to be this thing where we're going to be showing our legacy line heroes of Vision, Captain America, Iron Man, Thor. But of course, it's all new, all different Thor, and all new, all different Captain America. Along with Miles Morales.
Yeah, the teenagers, yeah.
And then we also meet, in a different part of the story, Ms. Marvel, Kamala Khan, who has a TV show coming out next week.
That's right. Oh, no. I think, no, in 2 weeks, I think. Isn't it the 8th?
Is it June 3rd, I thought?
Here, let me double check.
no.
I thought it was like the 8th or something, but let me double check.
Or was it June 1st? Because that's the Wednesday, I think. So,
no.
I'm not sure. Anyway.
Yeah, I'll look it up.
We'll figure it out. But anyway, so Ms. Marvel's coming out very soon, and she's in this. Sam. Forget Sam's last name, but Sam is in it.
Alexander. Sam Alexander.
Sam Alexander. There we go. And of course, Miles Morales. Miles sort of investigates when Warbringer shows up and uses his stealth to just sort of like sneak into what was formerly Avengers Tower, and then of course Mr. Griffin notices that someone is there. Although I did like that just before this. Again, this is this thing where when Warbringer shoots the energy beam at Mr. Griffin, he sort of does this, and it does that little apocalypse thing where the Z beam moves around people.
The exact, yeah.
Except he's doing that to it because he's Kang and he's awesome like that. I'm sorry, dang it, spoilers. He's Mr. Griffin and his company is Kang, but spelled with a Q, so it's not anything you think it might be. Okay, kids, don't get ahead of yourselves. Even though there was that building in Loki that said QENG. That was Avengers Tower, and gee, what was that all about? But
so Miss Marvel, the first episode will be June 8th.
Oh wow!
Which I thought maybe they dropped Kenobi this week, on a Friday because maybe they were, so they'd have a show Wednesdays and Fridays. No, starting next week, Kenobi's going to Wednesdays, so at least for a little while, we're going to have Kenobi and Miss Marvel at the same time on the same day.
Okay. Well, maybe that's also why they did 2 Kenobis up front.
Oh, maybe.
So that we're already into our 3rd Kenobi.
Get at least halfway through.
We're already into our 4th Kenobi by the time the first Ms. Marvel comes out. And you just got 2 more Kenobis, and then, so you just have like 3 weeks of overlap.
Yeah.
Although Boys comes out the 3rd, so that's also a thing to watch. It gets crazy, Phil. Moving right along, the fight breaks out. And actually, kind of getting ahead of ourselves here, because what it actually opens up with is Sam. 2 Sams. Sam Wilson saving people
on that bridge.
And Tony Stark just sort of getting stuck in traffic. And then when everyone starts saying, "We want to see you," and then it's like, "Oh, well, wouldn't you like to see Tony Stark too?" And brings him in, and it's very embarrassing. And that's fun. But then they all meet up when the explosions start. Tony Stark transforms his car into an Iron Man suit, which is pretty awesome. They go to fight Warbringer, but as it turns out, he's actually super, super powerful and just hits him with a laser blast. Everyone's knocked down at the end, Phil.
Yes.
That's so sad. I can't imagine that all of our heroes are dead, but clearly they all must be, as you do at the end of any cliffhanger ending. And then we get a little coda, a little side story here, a little backup story, where we get to see the awkward meet-cute of Nova and Ms. Marvel. And it's weird because it kind of feels like they're heavy shipping them. Although maybe it's just because I'm an old person and think, oh, they immediately hit each other. That means they're in love. Because that's what the romantic comedies of the 80s taught us. We had very bad roles. Yeah, and of course it's the situation where what is this? This is the giant dog, right? This is the giant animal he has tracked here because a villain has embiggen something from the microverse. By the way, I love that she is still embiggening here, where it is literally a growth power.
Yeah.
It's not a stretch, it's a growth. And she even makes comment, I'm going to shrink down to the size of a pin and punch him in the eardrum. So I really like that they're leaning heavy into what Ms. Marvel's power set is, as far as controlling that mass proportions. And I always really wanted to see her one day travel to the microverse, because I thought that would be awesome.
Yeah.
To really have her push her powers to the outmost limits, you know. It'd be very cool if they ever team her with Hank Pym or Scott Lang to see exactly what we can do with these powers. So that's my pitch to you, Marvel. You got it. Meanwhile, back in this story, Sam is, you know, very awkward around Kamala, and Kamala's very awkward around him, and, you know, and they both are regretting everything they're saying, but they're doing these things. Sam basically breaks a lot of stuff, and Kamala's like, do not come into my city and break a bunch of stuff. That's not cool, dude. And then he figures, I gotta do something, I gotta make it right, and he, like, immediately takes off his mask and says, let's start over, hi, I'm Sam. And this is apparently the superhero equivalent of sending someone a dick pic.
Oh.
Because it's this big thing. It's like, I'm going to do this, and now we can trust each other and be super friends, right? And it's like, no, I am not ready for this level of relationship yet, dude. I just met you, and I didn't like you that much the first time.
Oh.
And then he totally, like, blows it off and says, I was just lying. That's not even my name. You know? It's like, it is, they are very, very bad at their jobs. I think we can all agree to that. And it's weird.
They're awkward teenagers.
They're awkward teenagers, yeah. I mean, that is really what it is. It's like, and this is, I think, supposed to be a theme of this book, is that these are three hot young heroes learning the ropes of being heroes, with some more established heroes to guide them, but also heroes that are filling into legacy roles as well, with the exception of Vish. So that is, which is an interesting aspect of it too, which we'll get to in a minute, because we do have issue 2, which has Nova, which of course has, after basically Warbringer is left, he's gone, he's done. He doesn't kill everyone, which is weird, because he kind of probably really could have easily just totally killed everyone. But, you know, in classic supervillain fashion, he doesn't want to just kill them.
Oh, no.
When he has an important mission to run and get all these great toys, you know? As you do, Phil. And,
of course.
In doing so, he, of course, attacks Jersey City Science Center. And as soon as he gets there, Noah's like, oh, no, not Jersey City. That's her territory. Oh, boy. That's trouble. Meanwhile, the Vision shows up. He's like, hello, fellow heroes. Are you adventuring? I was just happening by. Let me disassemble your melded armor, Tony Stark. And then says, well, and even says, well, Tony, you can't pursue him on that armor. He's like, yeah, don't worry. That was just my disposable armor.
A car.
My car armor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he calls the regular suit in.
Calls a regular suit from headquarters. So, he gets that on. And he's looking pretty fly, and they go after Warbringer. Meanwhile, Warbringer is fighting Sam and Ms. Marvel, who are, again, still not having a good time. Very bad rapport, these two. And I'm trying to think, they eventually get in each other's way. They wind up having to save a bunch of civilians, obviously. And that's how he gets away, because that's how you get away as a supervillain. You just endanger civilians. But even during that, Sam is just smashing stuff, because he thinks that'll solve the problem. But it's like, she's like, people live here, you idiot. Someone owned that building. That's their livelihood, and really just talking about the stuff that no one ever talks to the Hulk about, It's like, Hulk, when you smash things, you're actually smashing people's dreams. And, and Hulk's like, but Hulk's sad. But anyway, in this moment, they meet up with the rest of the heroes. They track our villain to the Grove Street station, which is never drawn to look anything like the Grove Street station. It's a lovely station, don't get me wrong, but I don't think the person who draws Grove Street Station has ever been to Grove Street Station in Jersey City. Grove Street Station isn't even underwater. Just as a point of obvious point, it's actually further inland. You got to go. It's not even the first one underneath water. You go to Exchange Street next, and then you go under the Hudson River. So really, if they'd met at Exchange Place, that would have been much more realistic for when they get under the water and they blow a hole in this. Well, actually, of course, what happens is Mighty Thor shows up. She throws her hammer, and who is this Mighty Thor, Phil? This is one of the great mysteries. No one knows who this lady is. Although we'll find out next issue, she apparently knows CPR. It's like, hey, man, people drown in Asgard, too. Because I think Vision says that's an odd talent for a Asgardian goddess. What's up with this, Vision?
But there is precedent for Thor's knowing medical techniques.
Well, and they used to actually do that with Thor, where Thor would actually reference his knowledge as Don Blake.
Oh, yeah.
They don't do that anymore, and I don't know why,
I mean, did he lose all those memories over time, or what?
I don't know. I guess as he's become more Thor, being Don Blake, he sort of purged himself of the Don Blake persona, which I think is where we get all these problems. I think it was better when Don Blake was a transformation, more than a
separate being.
Yeah. I think that makes it a little weirder. And that's what leads to all the problems that they always have with Don Blake coming back and causing trouble and killing people because he's just a shadow and a wraith. And, really, they should have him do a whole thing like Banner and Hulk does all the time and just, sort of sit down and have a cup of coffee and work out what the heck are we, man?
Exactly.
Maybe even making the point to good old Don Blake, well, technically, I'm not real either. I'm a god, and I am very much influenced by the beliefs of others, and you could actually get a whole thing. And really, let's face it, I mean, at some point, Lady Thor and Jane Foster probably have this same dichotomy. Oh, I revealed the secret. Dang, I'm so bad at these spoilers. Although, I guess everyone who's seen the Thor...
I was going to say, with the trailers out now, I think everybody knows now.
Yeah, people will know that's the mystery. Who is this mystery woman? It is Dr. Jane Foster. They eventually do catch up with Warbringer. He is going to assemble the device, but even having the things in the same area opens up the gateway window that you can look into, and you see all of these Chitauri warriors. And the guy's like, "But I don't recognize any of those uniforms. Where are these people?" And Griffin says, "Don't worry about that. You just got to put them together, and then they'll all come rolling through. But before you do that, let's figure out our strategy because I think they're going to be a little hard for you to control when they first show up." Then, of course, they all get together. They have their typical fight that you do. Warbringer is showing himself a Thor-level threat, which is really impressive. And they realize that then they get the plan. The plan is they're going to assemble the things because they realize that's what's going to open the gate. They're going to assemble the things. It's going to open the gate, but then they're going to destroy the things, and hopefully that closes the gate. I mean, there's a lot of presumptions that are made by Tony Stark in this moment. But he wouldn't be Tony Stark if he didn't make presumptions, Phil.
I mean, that whole thing is weird, too, because he wants to reform the Avengers. I mean, that's at the end, but it's... Yeah. I mean, don't you think... I don't know. Again, I know we want to push books, but he's like, Cap's doing, the whole Unity Squad. He's like, and there was another team. He's like, no one's doing classic Avengers. Let's do classic Avengers.
Classic Avengers, yeah. Which, that's good. And hey, he's got a Thor. He's got his Thor. He's got his Cap.
Yep.
And we've got just a couple other people. Why not? A Nova and a Ms. Marvel, and it's good that we get the kids there because there is this whole thing. There's actually even a great line in this. A few bits later, when the heroes want to ditch the kids, and they make the point that heroes don't get their, or like adults don't get their way just by yelling. And Vision says, actually, my experience has not been that. Which is funny because it's true, you know. It's like these heroes, they often yell to get their way, especially Captain America and Tony Stark. Let's be honest. But you also get the idea that the young people want to step up and want to be the heroes that they have envisioned themselves to be their whole lives, you know, or that they've always dreamed of being, or even if they didn't dream of being, eventually have become, and they feel that great weight of power and responsibility. At the end of this, you know, people were like, yeah, you know, and again, one of these other things is like, how did Warbringer know your name, Nova? And, you know, the Vision covers for him and says, oh, well, a being like Warbringer would certainly have run into the Nova Corps over the years. So that's how he just recognized who Nova was, because he's wearing a Nova Corps uniform. Obviously, it's not weird unless you realize that, you know, he's just calling him by his uniform, not his hero handle, you see. Mm-hmm. And as they're flying away, Vision says, now just remember, you owe me. And this is a hint that something's not right with Vision. I wonder what it could be.
Dun, dun, dun.
I'm sure we'll find out eventually, Phil.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the first 3 issues. You don't want to get into issue 4 yet. Not only because that'll be a spoiler for next episode, but I haven't read it yet.
I know, I haven't reread it yet either.
Yes. Yeah, and of course I did read all of these when they first came out. And,
I think we might have talked them real briefly when they first came out. This was like 2015?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, like, what...
I'm trying to remember, was this right after Secret Wars?
You know what? Because I'm trying to... It's weird because... Yeah, this was after Secret Wars. This was that's what made it all new and all different. That's why Miles is in this universe.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to remember, because when it gets disrupted, I'm trying to think if that's because of the Secret Empire storyline, or if it was the Age of Ultron storyline. That disrupts it.
Well, first we do... remember we do Pleasant Hill, where we, like, you know, age Cap back down.
Yeah. But that's also what leads to
Secret Empire, yeah.
So, yeah. And I don't remember the timelines. It all tends to blur together. That's what's crazy about it, Philip.
Okay, the first 3 issues were like January, February, and March 2016. So,
yeah. When did Secret Empire start?
This
was 2017.
2016 was these 3 issues. It has to be Secret Empire has to be after, because Pleasant Hill's coming up in a few issues, and that's when he gets aged up. And remember, the Cosmic Cube ages him up, and that's what starts Hydra Cap. Yeah.
Yeah. So there are solicitations for Pleasant Hill in this. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't get the ads, so. But that's cool, man. That tells us where it's at. So yeah. So that's what eventually destroys this Unity Squad. It's crazy, man. You know, and then you also had was Luke Cage's Avengers at this time? You had Blue Marvel and Photon and Blade in it.
That might have been a little before this, because wasn't Otto on their team?
Yeah, Otto was on their team briefly, and then it was Spider-Man. It's like, no, Otto took over my brain, as you do. Anyway, it's crazy, Philip, but you know, the Marvel Universe is crazy. And we got some comic books to talk about tonight.
Yes.
So, since this is the Avengers Declassified podcast, let's talk about the Avengers book, Avengers 56.
Yes.
Where good old Jane Foster, plain simple Jane Foster, seeing Horse calling out to her, trying to remember who she is. But then she remembers she's Mrs. Thor Odin's son.
Mm-hmm.
The woman he loves. But what's this? She lives in Asgard in a quaint little cottage as a happy housewife? That's what she's always dreamed of. Wait, was it?
Mm-hmm.
She also takes care of some suspiciously ominous-looking pigs, Phil.
Yep.
Can't imagine anything bad's going to come from these pigs. They seem just nice and friendly, but not. Also, she keeps on dreaming of having the wings and whatnot, and her husband says, oh, you are enough of an angel He loves her. He comes back, and he's having his beer, and they're having a good old time. And she is tempted by the hammer. She wants to pick it up, and Thor's like, well, of course you can pick it up. Mjolnir knows you very well. And she's like, no, this isn't Mjolnir, and you're not Thor. And he's like, dang, I was actually hoping I was Thor, because I really did love you. It's so sad. Poor putty Thor dies sad. And then we find out that it's time for the pigs to play. And they're just more Mephistos. Because you can never have too many Mephistos, so.
That's right.
And we got a little piggy Mephisto, and a Norse Mephisto, and a big fat guy Mephisto. Because sure, why not? I wonder if the pig Mephisto is like from the larval universe where Peter Porker's from.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe he's Pig Fisto there, But then a Jane Foster from another universe shows up.
Yep.
Because it's all these multiversal Avengers. Because all the multiverses are going mad, Phil.
Yep.
And they get into they beat up the devils, because the devils aren't that hard to beat, because they're just devils, and they're 2 BA Norse goddess level power people, and they fight and they get through, and that all happens, and then they must part their ways, and they return to their respective universes as Robbie Reyes gathers together Avengers from all the dimensions, because they know they're going to have to fight both the Masters and the Parliament of Red. And there's this whole thing, the mind thought of good old Jane Foster. It's like, man, they must have had some outdated intel on me, because who would have thought it would have been a temptation for me to just want to be a happy homemaker? But then she's like, but wait, what if it was that wasn't what they were tempting me with? Maybe what they were tempting me with was Mjolnir.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's so in division between the Avengers, you see.
And
she wants her power back.
And I love that meeting she's at with the Avengers, and Tony Stark's, oh yeah, Mephisto tried to scare up me too. Yeah, man. Dropped me in a cave in the Ice Age, man. I built a armor out of ice because that's what I do.
So, all that. Yeah, Tony, he's got to make it about himself.
I know.
That's what our government does. Do you have another book you want to toss out there, Phil?
I know you probably stopped reading it, but Hulk 7, Banner of War, continued.
Yeah. And it's fine. It's fine if people are enjoying it. And I saw someone make a point. After the Green Door stuff,
mm-hmm.
It all seems just a little bit, not quite the same level.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's bad. Doesn't mean it's wrong. It's just like it's not the same level. But, so tell me about it, Phil. How's the Hulk doing? And is he still fighting Thor?
Well, yes. If you remember at the end of the Thor issue, Tony Stark showed up in celestial armor, so the Hulk makes quick work of him. And then Thor tries to intercede, and Odin, they put the hammer on, try to hold Hulk down again. And meanwhile, then Hulk's shooting like lasers out of his eyes and stuff, and they're like, "What's going on?" That's when Hulk basically detonates with the how many gamma bombs did they say? It was like the force of like 3,000 gamma bombs.
Oh boy!
But Tony survives to see, yes, 3,000. The effects of 3,000 gamma bombs had an effect on Thor.
Oh yeah!
Hulked him out.
Hulked him out. Yeah.
So of course
now, did they tap with the fact, because I know that in the end of Thor they said, no, you don't understand. He doesn't know it's a simulation.
Well, yeah, they kind of threw that line out again, too. It's like, he doesn't know he's in a simulation. He doesn't know he's not in a simulation.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that sounds cool. It sounds like it's a good punch-em-up.
I mean, if they ever explain what's going on, they still haven't explained, what happened in Santa Fe and, what drove Banner and the Hulk to this. So it's like, once you get answers, maybe, but yeah, it's still kind of weird.
Honestly, I'm driving a rocket ship inside because I'm in my own mind castle. It's like, I don't know, man. No VR is that good. It's like, it's weird the way that they presented it,
And they kind of had it where that Betty Banner in his head was probably some malevolent entity, but we haven't even seen Betty in a while lately, so I'm just like, what's going on?
Oh, maybe she's a Mephisto, too.
Oh, maybe.
It's Mephisto's all the way down, Phil. So it's not quite Avengers, but we'll call out Captain Carter because it does have a Tony Stark and a Captain Carter, and Betsy Braddock, and she does have like super cool psychic powers in this too.
Cool.
So she's about to get jumped by some ne'er-do-wells, and of course, after they got her down and they're about to kill her, you see the big purple butterfly wings come out, and then she beats them all up, as you do. Go, random stuff! And then she realizes, after they jump out the window, she picks up one of the guns. She realizes they were with Strike, which is the SHIELD organization that England has put up since Brexit. So of course, calls Captain Carter, who has a plan because she can't go to any of her safe houses, so they go to her friend Harley, who has a podcast. So they go to her place, and then they're going to hack the director's computer. Captain Carter goes in there, and then there's this whole thing, which is it's fun because they're like, Captain Carter, go to meeting room C, and she goes in there, and then it's the elevator scene, but in a big room. Because he's like, before we begin, does anyone want to get off? And you get into the big fight, which is cool. And after this, they have hacked the director's computer, so they're going through all of his files. We have this is where we see Tony Stark, and I didn't notice this at first, but it's weird because it's like you don't notice it at first, but it seems like he's actually like wearing. Well, here I'll show you. You'll see it when we open in a few minutes when he gets into the fight. Because when he shows up into a fight, literally there are rockets coming out of his feet, and his hand opens up. So it's like he's a robot Tony Stark. So I guess his dad wanted his son so bad he made a real boy. And then we're going to see what the fight is. And it turns out the Prime Minister, Harry, has never been to the schools he says he has. But everyone remembers having been there. Here we go. £100,000 reward for Captain Carter. That does not seem that heavy of a reward for an enemy of the state,
Yeah.
Especially if you're going to try and get people to turn on Captain Carter, who is like, a freaking icon. So that's weird to me. Have another book you want to throw out?
No, I'm good. I thought you had another. I thought you said you had another book.
Well, I do. I have Spider-Man 2099 Exodus.
Yeah, we could talk that, because I got that, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not technically Avengers, but it does have
throw it in.
Winter Soldier 2099.
Yes.
Who I liked. And Crossbones. And it's weird, because he's like all cyborg now. And part of me is like wondering, is he like supposed to be just Romolo, just deathlocked or something like that?
Maybe, yeah. They made him like Darth Vader or something, yeah.
Yeah, and we get in Transversity, and I got to be honest, I am not up to date on my lore.
That's like a new thing. They kind of rebooted. They've been trying to reboot it over the last couple of years. There was a alpha issue that was pretty much like the start of this. So before that, there was
and I get but like I know the new Ghost Rider, he like exists in cyberspace.
Yeah,
he's like a cyber ghost, which is cool. And I guess there's like this dimensional pocket world that they're in between places. Meanwhile, we have, of course, our Winter Soldier. Who was the last of the Winter Soldiers, because because they basically created a superhuman army, but then someone decided, well, what if the superhuman army can't be controlled? It's like, well, then maybe we should just kill them all. That sounds like a plan. And of course, she's the last one, and she's been looking to get the information to kill this dude, who was the head of it, but then he's like, oh, but you see, I have information. You think that you were just a nobody that would have that you had no family, but actually you have a whole thing, and I have that knowledge here, and I will only give it to you if you do something for me. And she's like, nah, that's cool, dude, and kills him. Punches him in the face, and he did. And she steals his loot and goes and gets on the train using his black card, because that's how you know you're in Osborn's inner circle.
Always Osborn.
And then on the train, and dang, this old Russian lady, she's going to be somebody, man. You don't sit on a train and share bread with an old Russian lady and not have it come back in some way or another, man. I don't know if she's good, if she's evil, if that's... I'm actually Alana Bolivar. You did not know that, but that's who I used to be. Now they call me the Grey Widow. And this is where she has to fight Crossbones because she goes on top of the train because she's going to get out. And Crossbones goes to fight her. Oh, by the way, her secret superpower is she can make technology stop working. She's basically an anti... what do you call that? Techno something or other? I don't know.
Okay.
It's a word where you can control machines, but it's like psionic control of machines, but she can like make machines break with her. That's her widow's song. Anyway, so she beats up Crossbones, rips off his arm, as you do. To be fair, he had ripped her arm off first.
That's right.
And now she's got a shiny new arm. So that's cool. She, of course, puts her fist through him again because that's her move. And then she gets to this celestial garden. She uses the pyramid. Did I not finish this? I think my pages stuck together. Oh wow, Phil. So what happens at the end of the book?
Let me pull this out. I mean, wait, which page didn't you get? The last one or the last?
Like the last one, for some reason I thought that after she defeats Crossbones, for some reason I thought that was the end of the book. She tears off his arm and kills him. Because you see, she's got like the robot arm.
Yeah.
On the cover. And it's like, well, how did she get that robot arm? Well, now we get the origin of that. And I guess for some reason I thought that was the end of the book. I don't know.
No, she gets her memories back, and then I think that's that same old woman in her family she's sitting with at the end. So I don't know if she's.
Oh.
Yeah, and then the very last page is her talking to Spider-Man 2099. So.
Okay, so she gets back. So that old lady does come back. So she was somebody. So that was her mom, I guess.
I don't know. That's what they don't say. If it's just, I don't know if it's supposed to be some of her family members or if it's just, I have my memories back, so I'll just go hang out with the old lady. I don't know.
Something. Next, a strange god comes to town, and his name is Loki.
Yes, I was going to say.
$20.99. Yay.
So
that sounds like fun.
Hey, could just be Loki.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, well, that's Loki $20.99.
Yeah.
That's Loki.
Unless it's like an offspring or something. Yeah.
I mean, he does have like kids that are immortal too. Like the one person who runs the the Parthenon or the Pantheon.
I mean, you could see like 2099. Loki's like, "Here's my son. You have to earn the name. make the name. Make me proud.
Make your old man proud, kid."
Exactly.
Anyway. All right, Phil. I think that's everything
that
I had.
That's everything I got.
Okay, Phil, this has been a great episode. Do you want to tell people where they can find us and buy merch and give us money?
Yeah. If you guys ever want to contact us, email us, CapesandLunatics@gmail.com or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. Yeah, while I'm here, let me pull up the schedule for next week. I'm pretty sure it's I think it's all new, all different Avengers 4 through 6. So yeah, just the next 3 kids. So 4 through 6. So
that's the homework.
Yeah, so send us your thoughts on those. You can also follow Avengers Declassified on Facebook, on Twitter. You can find links to all the various social medias for all the shows we do. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can watch everything in crystal clear video, and subscribe to the Patreon where you'll get early access to creator interviews, Mr. D.G. Chichester every month, and the superhero movie brackets. We will find the worst superhero movie of all time by the end of the year. So you want to listen to the individual battles and hear the end. So subscribe to the Patreon and pick yourself up some Capes and Lunatics and Capes and Lunatics Sidekicks merch. Find it all at
Aluminium.
That's right. Find it all at Linktree, linktr.ee/Capes and Lunatics.
And, of course, if you want to write to me in that old-fashioned email way, the way our mothers and fathers once did, do so at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. And, of course, follow me on the Twitter, which I am very rarely on, because there's nothing left to live tweet, as a lot of complained recently, at Charlie Esser. That's CHARLIE. ESSER. Look for the 2 E's in the middle. For what, Phil?
For quality. Bing!
Oh, well, thank you, Maz. I threw it to Phil, but Maz is the one who picked it up. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you have just listened to Avengers Declassified. Please remove this podcast from your memory. Well, actually, no, you don't have to, because it's declassified. So there you go. It's all public domain now. It happened. No spoilers. Good night, everybody.
It was Tony Stark. How secret could it have been?
Exactly. I like Tony Stark in doses they have. I'm intrigued by the Captain Carter version of Tony Stark, because it's like his armor is his body. It's like weird. My hope is that he is like Pinocchio. It's like, my daddy wanted a real boy, but he couldn't have one, so he built one.
Oh, jeez.
Then he's like Astro Boy.
Oh, did you see in the next couple of weeks we're getting the Iron Man Hellcat annual coming here soon?
Ooh, yay. I like Iron Man and Hellcat. I think those two crazy kids can make it work.
Well, tune in and find out. Good night.
Good night.
Hi, I'm Russell.
And I'm Justin.
And we're from the
Hold up. Listen up, you nerds. Tired of being a little goody two-shoes? Had enough of always talking about acts of courage and heroism? Well, you have come to the right place, I guess. Tomes of Evil is the comic book supervillain podcast, where every month we do a deep dive on a different comic book supervillain, as well as multiple sub-series on some of the most iconic foes of all time, including Darkseid, Doctor Doom, Scarecrow, and...
Named Hobgoblin, and you're right on time for your funeral.
I better be getting paid for this. So what are you guys waiting for? Bring on the bad guys.
Tomes of Evil, a comic book villain podcast.